Hello, we are live. I hope everyone is doing well on this spring Thursday. Spring for us here in Toronto. We had a beautiful heat wave last week and then it snowed the other day. And today we're like back in the middle to the weather being somewhat tolerable. So let us know where you guys are coming from in the comments. We love to see where you're tuning in from. And we're really excited to get to talk to everyone about Kobo Plus today. So let's do quick introductions for anyone that doesn't know who we are. I'm Tara. I'm the director of Kobo Writing Life. Usually I'm the one here talking to you guys. So Laura, why don't you give an introduction?
Sure. As Tara said, I'm Laura. I'm Kobo Writing Life's author engagement manager, which means I do a lot of talking with authors like all of you. I also do our social media channels, make sure authors get paid. Honestly, a little bit of everything. But I'm excited to be here with all of you today talking about Kobo Plus.
And hello, I'm Rachel. I'm the promotion specialist for Kobo Writing Life, which means that any promotion run on site that includes KWL titles is run and or facilitated by me. So I am all things promo. And what Laura forgot to mention is that her and I are the co-hosts of the Kobo Writing Life podcast. So if you listen to the podcast, you have heard us before, for sure.
And if you haven't, you should listen because their interviews are always so good. And we have tons coming up. We have banked a lot of interviews at the moment. So we're excited about that. We have people coming in from California, Philadelphia, Seattle, London, Portland, England, more Seattle. Tons of people coming. Texas, Arizona, awesome, right? So you're coming from all over. Thank you for letting us know. And make sure if you have any questions, pop them in the comments. So we're here to talk specifically about Kobo Plus today, which is Kobo's subscription reading model for ebooks and audiobooks, because as you might have seen, our latest announcement is that we finally launched this in the US and the UK, which we are so excited about. So what we're going to do, so if you have questions, pop them in the comments and we'll sort of get to them throughout the chat. We have a couple of questions at the beginning that Laura, Rachel, and I will sort of chat about, and then we'll pull the questions throughout as well. So don't worry if we don't see your question right away. We're going to try and get to it within this hour. And if we don't, you can always email us at writinglife@kobo.com and we're happy to chat as well. So first off, let's start with what is Kobo Plus? So Laura, do you want to give a little kind of summary of what Kobo Plus is?
Sure. So Kobo Plus is our subscription program. It's an all-you-can-read program. And I was going to try and name the GEOS, but I'm worried I'm going to forget some because we have so many.
10 GEOS now.
10 GEOS, and the newest additions, as Tara said, are the US and the UK. So we're so excited that our readers over there can also take advantage of Kobo Plus as well. So yeah, it's really easy for authors to opt into. You can just check a box in your dashboard and you can choose which books you'd like to opt in. We don't ask for exclusivity. We really, when we set it up, tried to make it as easy for authors to join as possible and as easy for authors to maintain control as possible. We know how important that is to authors. So we've really made it easy to opt in and opt out and to select which books in which territories you want to be part of.
Nice. So I'm going to attempt to remember all of our territories. So in Europe, Kobo Plus is available in Belgium, the Netherlands, France, Italy, and Portugal. And then in the non-European geos, we're available in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and the US. So those are our 10 geos. And look at us, we can count. So that's great.
Honestly shocking.
What a great way to start off the live.
I know. Amazing. So I want to talk about some of the benefits of Kobo Plus. So the biggest one, Laura, you've already mentioned is, of course, that there is no exclusivity. So we have built this out with allowing authors to put their books into Kobo Plus, but also be published on multiple platforms. And we know that when authors have a wide distribution plan, this is something that's really important, that they have chosen to publish widely. So we don't want to kind of change that decision. So what are the other benefits? So Rach, what do you think is a benefit of going into Kobo Plus?
Kind of like what Laura mentioned, it's the author control. We have handed over as much control as possible to the authors so they can decide what books go in to Kobo Plus, what geos they are in, and for how long. There is no time limit. So you can do trial runs on different series. You can do trial runs in different geos and kind of see what works best for your catalog. Like Laura said, we know how much indie authors love having control, as much control as possible. So I would say that is a huge benefit. And it's ebooks and audiobooks, which is another huge perk. There are different programs available to customers. There is the read only, listen only, and read and listen. So we capture as many different subscribing readers as possible.
Yeah, and it differs from Geo because we sort of tailor the Kobo Plus experience to the local market. So if you're in a Geo that doesn't have Kobo Plus, you might not be able to see it, or you might see a different offering in the US or then another area. So a top tip, actually, if you want to see what Kobo Plus looks like to a customer in that area, is when you're on kobo.com, there's a little flag at the top of the website that indicates where you're located. But if you click on this flag, you'll actually be able to browse our other storefronts. So if you are somewhere where Kobo Plus doesn't exist yet, you can click through to, like, say, the US, for example, and you can see the pricing and you can see the sort of just a little sort of snippet of what the experience looks like to a customer there. So that's always my top tip, is to go and browse our other platforms. Let me get more questions. So I know one of the sort of biggest questions from the indie author perspective is all about sort of like, what are they going to earn and how does Kobo Plus pay? So I kind of want to just go over some of, we have a lot of information in our help center. And actually I'll ask Terrence if you could drop in a link to the Kobo Plus section of the help center in the chat. Then you can kind of see it a bit more in depth. So how it works with a subscription model is that we measure the engagement with the minutes that a customer is spending reading. This allows us to treat ebooks and audiobooks exactly the same because we're tracking minutes. We have a lot of checks and balances in place. We do sort of like the offline sync after the fact, but we just find that it's sort of like the most beneficial way for the customer, for the publishers, for the authors, and the retailers. So we go through minutes read. So how it works is that we have our it's a revenue share model, very similar to any other subscription models that are in the market. So we have our pool of revenue that comes from the subscribers in any given month, in any given geo. And then what we do is that we divide that by the total number of minutes that have been read. And that gives us what we call the value per minute. So this is obviously it can ebb and flow. It doesn't really change all that much, but it can depend on like the number of subscribers, the number of books that are being read, etc. So then we use this value per minute, and then we multiply that by your amount of minutes that your book was read. And then that's by 60%, which is your author take home. So that might sound a little complicated with me just saying it out loud. I'd encourage you to click on the links that we just dropped into the chat where you can kind of see a breakdown of the math a little bit better. And what we're finding overall is that it's just sort of like a really kind of great way for us to calculate the earnings, and that authors are seeing an increase in their revenue overall. So it's definitely something that we think works well for both the readers and for the authors as well. Did you guys have anything to add to that? I just felt like I talked for such a long time there.
No, I think you covered everything.
Yeah, I am so grateful that you took that explanation for the team.
Nice. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. So then another big question that we get a lot, and I can see this coming into the comments as well, is like, how can I see my reads? So as you guys know, we've been really working on a new dashboard that we're hoping to roll out very soon. And this new dashboard has integrated audiobook sales with our ebook sales, and kind of it also has your pre-orders, which I know is a big ask. And it has some new fun graphs and export capabilities. So what we are also working toward is adding your Kobo Plus reads to this dashboard. Unfortunately, we weren't able to sync them up with the launch, and obviously the launch stops for no one. So we had to roll forward without it. But where you can see your reads is if you're in your Kobo Writing Life account, at my account at the top, if there's a little drop down that says payment information, and if you click through there, you'll see your monthly sales invoices. And there is a separate invoice that is just specifically for Kobo Plus. And if you open this, it'll show you the value per minute that I just kind of explained. It's also going to show you the geos where your books are being read, the specific books and everything. And then you can kind of see how things are going there. I know it's kind of a roundabout way of getting the data, but it is there at the moment. But rest assured that we will be adding this to the dashboard in the very near future. I know that is a big ask. So yeah, is there anything else that I'm missing? I'm going to just keep referring to you guys.
I think you covered it.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it.
Okay, great. And like I said, thank you for the questions in the comments. We'll go through them shortly, and I'm going to keep going. So then another question that we're kind of like, people are curious about the type of reader that is coming to Kobo Plus. So what are people reading? One thing that I would say is whenever we're looking at kind of the books that are being read, or if sometimes we have different like reviews with authors and we're going through different sales, it always does jump out at me that it's not always exactly the same, the a la carte sales as what's being read in Kobo Plus. So that kind of indicates for all intents and purposes of this sort of different audience. It's not necessarily the same people that are buying books. It's like this new type of reader that definitely just wants to subscribe and get that content there. So yeah, Laura, why don't you talk about some of the books that people are reading?
Sure. So as always, genre fiction, very popular. So romance is still our top genre, but we're seeing lots of different genres that are being read, like thrillers and mysteries, for example. We're still seeing lots of serialized content being read, as well as box sets. So people love series, love getting all their books in one go. We're also seeing a lot of English books being read in GEOS, like the Netherlands, for example. So make sure you're clicking in on NL when you opt your books in. And we're also seeing lots of translations doing well also. So if you have French translations, Spanish translations, that kind of thing, make sure you're checking all the GEOs.
I think a top tip as well is that if you are a little bit hesitant of the subscription market in general, I would say, because we built this out with authors in mind and we talked a little bit about kind of giving as much control as possible, I would definitely say to like opt into some other geos that you probably don't spend as much time focusing on. So for example, like Laura said, the Netherlands and Belgium, it's actually where we launched Kobo Plus back in 2017. So it's our strongest market for it. And there's a lot of English readership there. So I definitely think that if you wanted to just try out the subscription model, I would opt your books in there. If you're wide, I would say to opt them in everywhere. But again, totally understand that sometimes people just want to test it before kind of jumping in completely. So that would be my recommendation there. And I think what's really interesting to me is that box sets kind of floating to the top. Because as a customer, you have the option of clicking 6 books and downloading them. But I think it's easier and kind of just shows again that the customers like to have the convenient space of having one box set with Kobo. It's something we see not just outside Kobo Plus, just box sets being very popular on Kobo in general. And then we also notice that when it comes to like the a la carte sales, because through Kobo Writing Life, we don't have that higher price cap. So a lot of authors have these mega box set bundles because if they're priced over $9.99 for a la carte, you're still going to earn 70% sales on that. So these box sets are also doing very well in Kobo Plus as well. And the longer the book's being read, the more you're getting paid. And then something to note as well that comes up is that you're also getting paid for any rereads that are happening. So if somebody really, really enjoys your book and they're going back to it again, you're getting paid for that too. We're not doing any sort of restrictions around that. And so I want to talk a little bit about the content itself that authors can opt in. So front list, back list, whole catalog. Rachel, what do you think?
It's up to you. Like we said, you can decide what titles to opt in, what titles to not opt in. So if you're a little bit unsure, you're feeling a little trepidatious about the subscription model, put in a backlist series that you are not putting as much promotional attention on and kind of see how it does. But you can opt in whichever books you choose for however long you like. That said, we do recommend you give it about 3 months to gain traction in Kobo Plus. So don't like give it a week and then decide it's not working for you. But yeah, it's completely up to you which titles you decide to put into Kobo Plus and when.
Yeah, and just to highlight again as well that like Rachel said, we do recommend that you kind of like leave your books in there to gain traction, but there is no time limit, so you can remove your books at any time. If it's not for you and you want to opt them out, you have control over everything. So we wanted to just make sure that that was super clear, especially with the no exclusivity, no time limit, and like we said, giving as much control to our Kobo Writing Life authors as we can. And then what I would say is that I would think whole catalog if you want. And again, just agreeing with what Rachel was saying there, it is sort of up to you. What we're seeing with Kobo Plus is that it is a really great way for authors to sort of get new eyes on their backlist, because we are seeing this being a different type of reader that might be new to reading in Kobo and new to our ecosystem. So they might not be as familiar with you. So it can be a great way to boost the backlist there. Do you have anything to add to that, Laura?
Yeah, definitely what you said about it being a new type of reader. Like we've really seen just overall growth in author sales once they opt their books into Kobo Plus. Yeah, so I don't really see there being a downside to adding your books in. And like we said, you can choose to add just your backlist if you'd like. And again, we're not asking for exclusivity, so you don't have to worry about your books being up on one channel. They can still be uploaded on other retailers as well.
Awesome. And I see this question coming through to the chat as well, but I'll just pop it up. So what promotional opportunities are available to Kobo Plus? You're our promotions guru, Rachel, so I'm gonna defer to you.
Guru puts so much pressure. At the moment, there are the best promotional opportunity I can offer right now immediately is when you opt your titles into Kobo Plus, let us know so we can make sure our Kobo Plus team, our Kobo Plus merchandisers know. But we actually had a meeting yesterday with our Kobo Plus merchandisers, and we are really hoping to bring Kobo Plus promo opportunities to the promo tab in the somewhat near future. We're just ironing out the details right now, but we're really excited to be able to showcase KWL titles on the Kobo Plus subscriber page, hopefully very soon. So this is something we are actively working on. Tara and I have a meeting about it today. So
just throwing our schedule out into the
void
here.
We are actively working on it.
Our Kobo Writing Life titles sort of organically get featured really well with Kobo Plus because they're so popular with the readers there as well. But we want to streamline this and give authors an opportunity to really get their books in front of this new audience. So like Rachel said, stay tuned for some promotional opportunities that will be coming. And these will be for ebooks and audiobooks. We probably will always do both. And one thing as well, can you speak a little bit about the new release form just to let people know if they're not aware of that? Because I know there is a field to include Kobo Plus there.
Absolutely. And Terrence, if you can drop a link to the tell us about your new release section on the Help Center, that would be great. But we have a form that you can fill out. We look at this form, the responses to this form very regularly, and it's when you it's how you can tell us about your new releases. Tell us the title, the ISBN, and tell us if it's in Kobo Plus, and we can add it to our appropriate calendars so we can merchandise it whenever possible.
Awesome. And I think that even going through the promotions tab, it's always helpful for us to see if Kobo Plus is included, because it just gives us a kind of a double opportunity to really get your books there. So what I wanted to do, like I mentioned that we have a lot of stuff going on that maybe you don't see because you're in different places of the world. As we had in the chat, there's tons of people tuning in from lots of different places. So in Canada, you might have seen this ad. We have this running at the moment about Kobo Plus, and we've had some really tongue-in-cheek campaigns going on throughout Canada. But I wanted to share this ad with everyone so you can kind of see what we're doing and kind of having fun and enticing the readership in. So I hope that this works. I'm going to add this.
What you reading?
There we go.
Oh, nothing. It's called Love, Luck, and Cluster.
Basically, I love it. It's called Love, Luck, and Cluster.
It's an ebook, Love, Luck, and Cluster. It's called Love, Luck, and Cluster. Cluster, 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 cluster. It's this amazing new ebook I got on Kobo Plus.
Whatever ebooks you're into, read them all for $9.99 a month.
Glad to be able to share that there. It's the team did such a good job and had fun with that. So wanted to share with the market that is outside of Canada so that you can see that, because that is getting a lot of airplay as we speak. Right. So I am going to dive right into your questions. So keep them coming and we're going to go through them. I'm kind of just going to start at the beginning. And also, Laura, feel free if there's something, if you wanted to add it up. Oh, yes. And that was a good point. The book that is referred to in that ad is a Kobo Writing Life title. So it was always nice to be able to spotlight our authors in any advertising that we're doing outside of things. So let me see. Oh, bear with me now. I should have got this. So there. So any update on when we get Kobo Plus pre-order data on the dashboard? So your pre-order data is there if you have access to our new dashboard, which is still in beta. If you don't see this, email the team at writinglife@kobo.com and they'll enable the new dashboard that can get your pre-order information. And then Kobo Plus is coming very soon. We don't have any updates just yet, but please bear with us and know that we are actively working on this at the moment. And then another similar question. Okay, so can we summarize how things have been going since the US and the UK launch? Are lots of people reading and listening? Yeah, so we launched just at the start of April, so it hasn't even been a full month yet, but we're very pleased with how it's going so far. Lots of engagement from the readers in those areas. Obviously, we can't share data, unfortunately, but you will see your reading data will be in your sales invoices that will be available next month. But we are very pleased with how the launch has rolled out. And also a huge thank you to the authors that have let their readers know about this launch, because that was such an important part of getting people really excited about it. I know, Laura, you saw a bunch of stuff.
Yes, so many great comments and shares from authors. We've seen them all on social media, and we really appreciate the support. And we've been sharing it internally as well to kind of give our Kobo Plus team, who's been working so hard, a bit of a boost to see everyone be so excited. But yeah, really enjoying seeing all those comments.
Yeah, it's fun for us to see that going on, and really thankful for anyone that added it to their newsletter or did any blast or anything. We really appreciate it and love being able to offer just different options. That's what we're all about, is just having different options for readers. So Maria has a question. Let me see. Is there any way some sort of partial pay can be paid out during the trial period? Entire series can be read during that first month. Love Kobo Plus, maybe kind of a shared pay to make that first month produce some kind of revenue. That is a great question, Maria. So during the free trial period, there is no payment during this trial. We sort of see this as a way of like showcasing your books. It's a bit of a similar thing to kind of like a free first in series. So there is nothing there. Just to kind of stress as well that this has always been the case with Kobo Plus. It's not anything new that we added in the US or UK. But I don't know if everyone was sort of aware of that. But I'll definitely take your feedback back, Maria, and thanks for highlighting that for sure. We'll take it back to the team, and thank you for the enthusiasm around Kobo Plus. Alex, really like your comment here saying that it's coming to the US single-handedly convinced you to go wide. So that's a really great comment. Rachel, do you have any advice for Alex? What would your advice be for a new author going wide?
Email us at writinglife@kobo.com. Flag me. I have an ongoing list of new wide authors, so I can keep an eye out to try to help you in promotions and give you a boost as you get a foothold on Kobo. So please email us at writinglife@kobo.com and let us know when you are adding your titles and moving them out of exclusivity, because we view new to Kobo as new. So we can add it to our new release calendar.
Nice. And do you have anything you wanted to add, Laura, to like a newly wide author?
I was just going to say, take advantage of the Kobo Writing Life podcast, the blog, our help center, and just take a look at all the tips and tricks from authors we have there about like getting a foothold with Kobo. And don't be discouraged, give it a bit of time, because you have to think about it as you're building a new audience as well. But
That's
yeah.
a great point. Yes, that it can take a little bit longer to gain traction. But the good thing is that Kobo Plus is a great way of also adding to this traction. So we hope that it kind of speeds up things there. And Dakota has a comment. A reader told me searching for Kobo Plus isn't very user friendly. Are there plans to make that easier? Oh, for Kobo Plus books. Absolutely. We're always improving the store. And we definitely are constantly working on that and any feedback. There's a pretty easy option for readers to give feedback. I mean, actually look at all of that. So I would encourage you, if you're talking to any readers, to tell them to reach out to us for any feedback. And we definitely will be helping with making Kobo Plus as discoverable as possible. And I was wondering, Rach, if you could talk a little bit about the emails that go out kind of featuring like Kobo Plus or different things and how our emails work.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two different kinds of emails that exist within the Kobo email sphere, Kobo email universe, if you will. One that is automated and automatically personalized to the readers, and then one that is populated by those of us who work in the promotions. So for Kobo Plus, emails will go out to subscribers once a month, and they have both curated content and automatically filled content personalized to the reader. So if you subscribe to Kobo emails and you don't see your books in them, this is something to keep in mind, because they are possibly appearing in other people's emails depending on their reading habits. I get many Kobo emails. I see KWL titles in them all the time based on my reading preferences. So I see a lot of mysteries, thrillers, and science fiction and fantasy KWL titles in my emails. But yeah, those are the kind of emails that go out.
And just a reminder, sorry, Tara, just a reminder to authors to make sure that your series information is up to date, because we do have emails that go out to readers that basically are called like watch or read what happens next, and those direct readers to check out the next book in a series. So make sure all your books are linked. And if you can't figure out why they're not linking, email us and our lovely publisher team can look into it for you.
Were you about to say watch what happens live?
No, I was about to say watch what happens next instead of read what happens next.
I just thought it was a Real Housewives slip there, just because I just watched that the other day. All right. Some comments here. I love Kobo Plus. Thank you for this service. So I'm just highlighting that. And yes, we hope to have data on the dashboard soon. And then Alex was just adding to Dakota. Not sure if it was just me not being used to Kobo yet, but you don't see an easy way to browse subgenres. So this is a great point, actually. So when you're not subscribed, you see a different page to when you are subscribed. So Rach, can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. If you are not subscribed to Kobo Plus and you click on the Kobo Plus tab on the Kobo website, you will see the page that is enticing folks to subscribe. You will not see all of the Kobo Plus content. Once you are a subscriber, you will see a much bigger homepage with much more content. You will see subgenres broken out so people can find romance books only. They can find their mystery thriller books. So it is a very different experience as a subscriber to a non-subscriber.
And yeah, I mean, you can always try it to see what it looks like as a subscriber as well, if you're curious. But yes, it is a different experience. We just have a lot more of a curated experience to those customers. Sarah Allen is asking, what is the pay structure? How often we get paid, and are there bonuses? So I did go over the payout, and I think it's linked in the chat. So it is the minutes read model with a revenue share model. And then it is included in your regular payments each month. So if you are thinking to yourself, if you've been in Kobo Plus for a while and you don't think you've had any reads or gotten paid, it is very likely that you have already been getting earnings through Kobo Plus. So like I said, again, you can see your Kobo Plus invoices in under My Account and down to payment information. We don't have bonuses per se. That's a great question as well. So not bonuses based on reads, and just the payments that go out as they're there monthly. So they go out at 45 days after the end of the monthly period, which means for anything that has been earned in April, that payment would be June 15th, Laura, right? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, June 15th.
I know we're always working in like months ahead and then months behind, and I know Rachel has several different calendars because that's a good tip actually. Rach, could you talk about like how far ahead you work for promotions? Oh, I can't hear you.
You're muted.
Sorry, I've been muting myself while I chug coffee. But yes, so I typically plan out promotions roughly 2 months in advance. I am pitching new release titles to our merchandising team 2 months in advance, a month and a half in advance. So like I will be pitching June at the end of April. And yeah, so always at least 2 months ahead. I have some things planned out for the rest of the year. And then for new releases, we fill that calendar a month ahead of time. So let us know about your new releases as soon as possible, because we cannot guarantee space. We unfortunately don't have space for every single title we see. So the sooner you let us know about your new releases, the better, because we do work very far in advance. I have a very hard time keeping track of what month and or day it is at all time.
I disagree. I think you do a great job.
Stop.
Okay. Ariella, so you're agreeing with Marie. This is the comment about the free trial period. So I totally understand that might be a bit of a discouragement. So what I would say is that because we built it out to include Kobo Plus in each individual geo, obviously when we launch in a new geo, those will be future free trial users. We really think it's a great way of getting readers to see extra books, to try things out. And what we do see is that because so much of our content is serialized that is being read, it's really possible, if you're starting with book 1, they're going to go into book 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. But what I would say is that if you are a little bit nervous about that, when we do launch in new geos, you could deselect those options for the first month and then add your books back after the fact, if that was something that you wanted to do. Again, totally up to you. And we kind of just encourage you to just have as much control over it as possible. So thanks for the comments. And we will take this all on board.
And again, too, if you want to start with just your backlist content, for example, to experiment with that rather than putting your frontlist content in, we're making it really easy for you to select specific books only. You don't have to opt in your whole catalog.
Yes.
And then another comment here. So will an author who is not located in a supported geo be able to publish their books into Kobo Plus for readers in supported geos? Absolutely. So you don't have to be based in the US to put your books in Kobo Plus in the US. So where you'll see the Kobo Plus option. So if you're publishing through Kobo Writing Life directly, when you're publishing your book, one of the steps is the rights and distribution, and it's part of the steps there. So you can select all of the geos that you want to publish your books in general, and then you can also select the geos, or all of them, for Kobo Plus. So we just have those 10 geos that we mentioned, but you can choose which ones you'd like to include. So it doesn't matter where in the world you are, your books, all based on our love of metadata. This is why it's so important, just to tell us where the books are going. And then Ariel has, I hope I said your name correctly, my apologies if I mispronounced. How do you track minutes read if someone's reading offline, for example, or leaves their app open but walks away from their phone? Is there some sort of formula? Yes, we have a lot of checks and balances and different tracks for offline reading and things like that. Can't quite share the secret sauce, but just bear in mind that we are tracking sort of the offline readership as well. More questions about dashboard. That reporting is going to come very, very soon. And so a question about, is there a way to get more exposure of your books in Kobo Plus? So we talked about the promotions that are coming up soon, but do you have any advice, I guess, for an author in the meantime that can kind of try and entice Kobo Plus readers to their books? Laura, I'll start with you.
Sure. So one of the things that I've seen a lot of authors doing on social media is just letting readers know that their books are in Kobo Plus. So that way, if a reader is searching for new books on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, for example, and they use that hashtag, your books will come up there. So that's pretty good for social media discovery. We're working with the team to come up with some social assets as well that can be used to share that your books are in Kobo Plus that way. And don't forget to let your newsletter know that your books are in Kobo Plus as well.
Nice. Anything to add, Rach, about ways that people can promote to Kobo Plus without our specific promotions?
In addition to what Laura said, on our end, like I've already mentioned, if you are opting in your books for the first time to Kobo Plus, to let us know. It's like a new release in Kobo Plus, so I can let our Kobo Plus merchandising team know. But yeah, I think Laura covered all of the reader-facing bases and just letting your readers know that there are other opportunities to read your book and to find your books.
Great. I have to speed up because thank you so much for all these questions, but I just realized that I'm probably going too slowly. So I'm going to keep going forward. Thanks again for all the comments. This has been awesome. So Sarah as well. So this is a question that comes up from time to time. So thank you for asking. So how does the pay work if we have a fast reader? So somebody who can read a novel in 2 hours as opposed to somebody can read a novel in 4 hours. Theoretically would get paid less for the fast readers reads than the slower reader. So we launched Kobo Plus and we didn't have minutes read as the model. So we did a sort of a couple of years of research before we switched to this to really make sure that it was like beneficial to, like I said, both the author, the publisher, the reader, and the retailer. So we kind of did a lot of tests into listener and reading behavior. So in the reading behavior specifically, we looked at like the average speed that people are reading at, and we looked at the average speed per genre and the differing, because there is that kind of the whale reader of a romance reader, right? So what the kind of investigation told us is that it really didn't dip too much between the different genres. So what we're seeing is that it is sort of balanced out, where we have some faster readers and also then some slower readers. So for lack of a better term, it kind of all comes out in the wash is what we've been seeing. So I hope that sort of answers your question there. Anything to add, you guys?
No, I think if you look at the reading habits of like Laura and myself, it's an example of things just coming out in the wash, because I am a very slow reader and Laura is a very fast reader. So if we were both Kobo Plus readers of your books, it would average out evenly.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely balances out for sure.
It's always fun when they have to read the same book for a podcast interview to see the scramble that happens.
Rach is pretty good at getting it in at the last minute if she needs to. She might just lose a bit of sleep.
I always get a message like from Laura, like, "Oh my God, the ending." And I'm like, "I'm on chapter 10, dude."
And then I get a delayed message. "Oh my God, I just got there."
Whereas Laura's on like 3 books later than this. Like, yeah. Okay. All right. We have a question here about libraries. Will Kobo Plus be going in collaboration with libraries in Europe and Australia? No, it won't be synced up with libraries at all. It's sort of a different thing. So what we like to say when you're coming to Kobo Writing Life, you're reaching 4 audiences really. So you have your digital readers that are your standard ebook readers. You have your audiobook listeners. You have your library lenders, and then you also have your Kobo Plus subscribers. So they are not the same, but you can make your books available to libraries and Kobo Plus in one easy place. It's actually even in the same screen, so it's very easy to go forward. So then a question about how does the setup inform the subscriber of other available book formats on other channels, such as printed books? Laura, can you answer this while I chug some water?
Yeah, for sure. So we don't do anything that specifically links to printed books. We just focus on ebook and audio. So we don't really touch on printed books in that way. But subscribers on the ebook page will see if there's an audiobook. They'll see if it's available in Kobo Plus. All that information is there.
That's why the metadata is so important, to make sure that you're entering the right ISBNs to match them so that your ebook and your audiobooks match up. And then the reason that we actually ask for your print ISBN, because I know that can be a little bit confusing, it's for our partner stores. So our partners can sync through. So for example, like ball.com will sell print books, and they want to be able to have one page where we can have print, audio, and all in one area. So that's why, if you're ever wondering, because we don't do print ourselves, but that's why we asked for it. Ariella, again, apologies if I have mispronounced. Is the minutes read assigned to your book calculated off the automatic estimate of how long it takes for your book to be read, or is it based on actual time? It's actual time that is being read. So that's we're taking into account the actual time that somebody is reading your book. If you're kind of curious about the length of your book, another tip that I have is if you search your books on kobo.com, on each product page, we actually have an estimated reading time. It's by hours, not by minutes. So then you'll have to like figure out that calculation. But it's sometimes it'll say sort of like your estimated reading time for this book is 2 to 3 hours, is 3 to 4 hours. So that can kind of give you a sense of what to expect when you're seeing the minutes come through then on Kobo Plus. All right, Elizabeth, are we seeing enthusiasm for Kobo Plus among readers? Absolutely. It's been something that's gone really, really well so far. And we're seeing people just really excited about it. I mean, our focus is looking at the author enthusiasm, which has really blown us away. So we're really, really pleased about that. Mel is asking about what sort of devices are readers using for their Kobo Plus content, like phones or e-readers. So we actually just launched a new device on the same day as we launched Kobo Plus. You guys both betaed the device, did you?
We did. Yeah, it's a really fun device. So I'm excited for people to try it out. It's really good for writers because you can actually write on your books as well. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, it's a really fun device.
What's it? It is the Ellipsa 2E, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So the devices where a Kobo Plus is available, it's available on all of our e-readers. So there's a really easy way. It's within the account for people to browse Kobo Plus. Even if they're not a Kobo Plus subscriber, there's a really kind of, it's front and foremost, it is very available. Rach is just dying at me. I know. I have no words. It's very easy for a customer to see that Kobo Plus is available, is what I'm trying to say. And it's also a section in our app. So the Kobo app is free and can be downloaded on iOS and Android, and they can read on Kobo Plus as well. So we definitely see some people have preference to read on their phones versus their e-readers. So you can definitely do both. So we have a question here from Windtree Press. We distribute Kobo through an aggregator, D2D. Do you know if you're planning dashboard access to aggregators when it becomes available? Our dashboards are separate, but I think D2D has their own reporting and that you can kind of see your Kobo Plus stats there. But I would recommend giving them a shout. They're super helpful. So if you email D2D, they'll be able to ask any questions there. You can opt into Kobo Plus through D2D as well. So yeah, you can absolutely, if you decide to go with an aggregator instead of direct, that's totally up to you. Alex is, we talked a little bit about the launch. I can't share subscriber numbers, unfortunately, but we are very pleased with how it has gone so far. Okay. And Maria is asking as well. Yeah. So readers that don't have a Kobo device, how do they read their subscription? Again, the free app. So if you just go to the app store, whichever device you're using, you can download the app for free. That's also something that I'd recommend authors to do, especially a wide author. I think it was, I'm stealing this idea from Inez Johnson once said this, that she reads on each retailer's apps, or at least downloads them. She likes to check out the different rankings, what books are being read, because it's not always sometimes the same. The genres can differ. So something I would say, if you're a wide author, you're publishing on multiple places, at least download the free app so you're a little bit familiar what it looks like to a customer, because it'll just help you sell your books to that customer if you sort of know what the interface looks like.
And you can listen to audiobooks too.
Oh, that is a great point. Even through our devices, you can connect to a Bluetooth with your Kobo device, and you can use the apps. Is there anything that you've seen, Laura or Rachel, that I am not popping up? Oh, so Wintry, you're asking again about audio. Let me pop this one up. We also distribute our audio through an aggregator Findaway. If the books and audiobooks come to you through an aggregator, will we still fill out the form for promo or new release? Rach?
For our new release calendar and for our promotions, both audio and ebook, we only take titles that are uploaded directly through Kobo Writing Life. If you would like to upload your books through Kobo Writing Life and would like some assistance, please let us know. We can transfer all reviews and ratings on your titles. But we do only take titles that are uploaded directly.
Nice, thank you. Dale's here saying hello. Hi, Dale. I did a chat with him the other day, so you should check out the video where we talk more about Kobo Plus as well. And he's done an awesome job about linking them all together. So thank you. I really like this question, Whitney. Are you guys lurking? We're always lurking. Always.
Yes, me and Tara are lurking and wide for the win. But we're really there to ask or to answer any Kobo questions that you guys have.
Yeah, it is mostly just in case we get tagged in something to ask the questions. But it was great to see the threads that went on the day of launch around Kobo Plus as well. So that was really awesome.
And we do share all the Facebook feedback we see, not just in Wide for the Win, but anywhere on social media. I'm always looking out for feedback and sharing it with our team. So yeah, definitely have eyes on all of that.
More Wide for the Win. Oh, so if anyone isn't familiar as well, sorry, we just kind of mentioned Wide for the Win with the assumption that everyone knows what it is, but it is a wonderful resource for wide authors. It is a Facebook group that we encourage you to join. There's lots of information there, especially if you were new to wide or anything. There's lots of resources. And Rach, you want to answer this one? Because you'll be getting the emails.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Share away. We want to support new authors new wide authors as they begin their wide journey. So this is not a terribly kept secret. Like, please share this information. I look forward to reading all of your emails, and I will do my best to get back to them in 24 hours. Business hours.
So Cameron Claire, you're adding, oh yeah, this is about the different subgenre question or the page counts. So if you're looking at the novella lengths on the Kobo app, I don't believe it's listed on the Kobo app actually. So you'd have to go to kobo.com on a browser, and that's where you'll see the time listing on the product page. Okay. Thank you guys for all of the comments. So Beck has a question here. So seeing the genres once you subscribe, how easy is it to find niche groups within genres? Would love to join Kobo Plus as an author, but the major players in the subgenre are firmly KU. Yes, I understand. I am curious what the subgenre is now.
Yeah, me too. I was just thinking that.
It is the same sort of browsing experience. I would say maybe just browse the Kobo store and kind of see the familiarity there. We do a lot of work within, I think within our promotions really is where we get to focus on the niche genres, right? Is that kind of fair to say, Rach?
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm running for example, romance specific promotion, I will then break down the carousels within the promotion to a more specific niche subgenre list. So that is definitely where you will see more of the very niche subgenre breakdown, and both from tropes and genre perspective.
Yeah. And if there's one that you're not seeing that you'd like featured, or if maybe you have a group of authors that you want to experiment on a sale with, like, feel free to reach out to us with that idea, and then we'll definitely keep it in mind for future promos. Sorry,
she
Rachel,
says feel free to reach out to us. Yeah, she says us. She means me, but Laura is correct.
Yeah, can you give some examples of some of the stuff we're doing? Because I know, is the hockey romance one right now?
Yes. So I collaborated with a group of authors to run a hockey romance promotion for the month of April as we kick off the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Are you mad that I brought up hockey?
No, because my team's in the playoffs, even though they're playing terribly, but Laura's isn't, so it's fine.
Well, we'll talk once you make it past the first round.
We won't. We won't. We just got destroyed in the first game, but at least we're playing. So hockey romance, for example, I've got a historical romance promo coming up. There was I did a promo with a group of authors recently that was like funny, cozy mysteries. So we did that. So like very, very niche subgenres of various genres. There was a Canadian sci-fi fantasy promo that we ran last year. So I'm open to try and to work with authors so long as the calendar allows. So if you have an idea, like Laura said, please feel free to reach out to me if there's enough interest and we have the room on our promo calendar. More than happy to work with you on that.
Yeah, and the best way to get in touch is writinglife@kobo.com. So the jokes are coming, right? So I'm very excited that we're seeing some.
They're jokes. This is why I keep laughing.
What does one library book say to another? Can I take you out?
It's great.
It's great.
Amazing. I love the bookish take on that one.
Oh yeah, perfect. If you're wondering about the jokes, this is because we encourage, I mean, I think it started organically and then we mentioned it and now you are getting more and more jokes.
It's great.
Yeah.
We tweeted out a request for jokes at some point.
Okay. But when you were applying for promotions, there is a text field where you can tell us about your book. And some hilarious authors are using this for jokes, which we very much appreciate. So
do you appreciate or do I appreciate and then force them upon you?
Suffer through. Yes.
I mean, you filter them to us, which I also appreciate. So double.
No, they're great. I have yet to see a bad joke come in through the comments on promos. So please keep them coming. You keep me so entertained.
Nice. So Troy is saying the timing on the Kobo Plus opening was perfect. He had just taken his entire catalog wide and went to K Plus. So went K Plus with all of the traction as a new wide author. So that's awesome. Welcome to the world of wide publishing. And we look forward to seeing your email. And thanks so much for joining with Kobo Plus as well. Karen, thank you for the very kind words. We really appreciate that. So yeah, thank you very much. Evie, is the case that you still need 300 minutes cumulative per book to be paid out? Yes, I should have mentioned this earlier, actually. So what Evie's referring to is that on your sales reports, when you're looking at your Kobo Plus reads, you'll notice that they're always in values of, it's like multiplications of 300. So the reason that we do this is that we needed an equivalent to what we would consider like a one book unit. So this was to allow authors and it was publishers mostly actually, but to allow them to compare. So you can compare your a la carte sales, you know, what is 10 books earning versus minutes that are being read. So this is why it is going out over 300 minutes. So the way that it works is that we wait for those minutes to accumulate. It's per title, but it's everyone reading that per title. And if you don't hit the 300 minutes, it just rolls over to the next month and keeps going. We're working toward kind of removing this because it doesn't necessarily serve indie authors as well as it would serve publishers who need this equivalent value. But that's the reason why you see that. So yes, the case is that those are still there.
I remember, remember we had a question from Wide for the Win asking why are reads below 300 minutes not included in sales reports?
Oh, that's the reason. It's just because it's only the way that we need to have like the equivalent to one unit. So we are working to include this so we hope to report on all of the minutes in the future. But thank you. I'm sure I'll get to it. I'm going too slowly through these questions.
That was from someone who couldn't come, so don't worry. You're on pace.
Okay, perfect. Well, phew. So Candice, as an author, I love Kobo Plus. It's allowed a lot of new readers to find my books and has been great for building my presence on Kobo. That's awesome. Thank you. As a US reader, so excited to have access to it. Question about the Kobo Plus lists. How often are they updated? That's a great question. Rach, we were just talking about this yesterday.
That is a great question. I'm trying to remember. So some of the lists on site are populated automatically based on what we call temperature, which is the like heat of your title on site. But I do believe that a lot of the lists, and Tara, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misremembering this conversation, but I do believe they're updated bi-weekly.
Yes, I think that's what they mentioned.
Yeah, so our Kobo Plus merchandiser is updating most of those lists bi-weekly with new titles.
So question, are there plans to expand Kobo Plus to Germany? We definitely want to roll this out in as many places as possible. No immediate plans, but I would also say subscribe to our newsletter and follow our social for any different announcements. But for right now, our focus is on the English markets, and especially this huge US UK market that we've just expanded to. But yes, we would love to roll this out into much more places to kind of get as many readers as possible. Another question. Super excited about Kobo Plus as an author and a reader. Just echo the concern about how it's hard to browse the catalog. Yes, we will take this back and take this on board for sure. If you are searching on the kobo.com, there is a little button that will filter to only show you Kobo Plus content. So that might be worthwhile letting your readers know, or even browse as a reader
it's like a
yourself.
little checkbox you can check off for Kobo Plus. So you could do like romance, subgenre, and then check off Kobo Plus if you'd like.
Awesome. I love the Not Your Mama's Bodice Rippers. Love that, Lainey. That you read and listen to Kobo Plus books on the app on your iPhone. So that's awesome. Yeah, it's super easy. It's just one app for ebooks and audiobooks, which is really, really great. How can I add Kobo titles to my device if I get them through direct email from the author? You would have to ask the author. Our devices aren't locked, so you definitely can add them, but I would ask the author to give you the advice to just how you can sideload those.
There's also information in the Kobo Help Center about how to sideload a book.
Okay, great. Oh, Maria, you've got a joke that is very timely because Rachel was just at the dentist. So, Rach.
Can you eat after visiting the dentist?
And the answer? The dentist.
That's hilarious.
Very
Excellent.
It's a very timely one.
Very timely.
That's a good one.
Thank you, Maria. I appreciate it.
Nice comment here from Susie, who says, I really appreciated how Kobo Plus, even before the US and the UK were added, basically doubled her monthly income at Kobo and also made that income more consistent. That's really, really awesome. That's what we hear for sure from our authors. And again, because it's not yet on the dashboard, we know we're going to do it soon. But sometimes you might not even realize that some of this income is coming from Kobo Plus. So I'd urge you to go to my account and the payment information, and you'll be able to see that there. And then, yes, really great to know that the 300 carries forward because I have some novellas and I was thinking of pulling out of Kobo Plus. No, I would leave them in. It's not that they're not getting read, but novellas for sure would take a little bit longer to reach the 300. But it'll carry over. Everything is being logged. So yeah. And a lovely comment from Vanessa. The jokes really make her day. So Vanessa is also part of the KWL team. Thanks for being here.
I'm glad to know the jokes make your day. I'll keep them coming.
Nice. So Dale had a viewer question about native advertising for Kobo. Is there any possibility authors could see native advertising for their Kobo books beyond the occasional promos? This is something that we debate back and forth all the time at Kobo about having kind of more ads embedded in our system. If you use a Kobo device, you'll know that there's no ads at all. We're very much focused on just letting people read and have that time. But that's not to say that we don't have anything in the future, but for right now, there isn't. But we talked about the Wide for the Win group, there's lots of good resources there that can talk about like how to make Facebook ads really work for you for Kobo. And for different opportunities there. I know some authors use like Google ads. Laura, do you want to talk about like maybe Facebook ad targeting a little bit?
So definitely make sure that you're including, if you're geo-targeting your Facebook ads, you're including Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. And also if you're looking at territories where we have a strong retail partner like Bol in the Netherlands, you can use your Bol specific link and then target Bol readers as well. So definitely keep those retail partners in mind when you're making your ads.
Yeah, and I think we have especially had authors report some success with taking advantage of our partners, especially the very like book heavy ones like Booktopia. That's our partner in Australia because they're so well known. So that's it's a really great tactic that you can do. Maria prefers the no ads or not too many ads. I definitely get that as well. And Dale
it can be a
also
bit confusing.
yes. But as an author, you want to definitely advertise it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend doing that. And then yes, Maria, my apologies. I have forgotten that you guys are moving to Circle as well. So there's a Facebook group and also Circle for Wide for the Win too. Guys, I think I did it. I think I went through every question and comment.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah. Was there anything that I missed or anything that you wanted to add as a final comment about our Kobo Plus launch in the US and the UK? Rach? No. Well, Laura, you can go.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I noticed there's a couple of people with questions about banking information. So you can email us at writinglife@kobo.com if you're having issues adding your banking info. And there's a couple of people asking us to go into the formula on the Help Center. And I think the best solution would be for you to email us so we can break it down more over email, because it really is hard to speak to math equations over live.
We're book people.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just really easy to see it written out better, more broken down. And yeah, just for Kobo Plus, just want to thank authors again for all their support. We do see all of it and we really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope it helps everyone find new readers.
Yeah, same thing. The enthusiasm has been wonderful. We've gotten emails about it. I've had more than one TikTok just randomly show up on my For You page of authors being very excited about Kobo Plus. So we appreciate your excitement. We are also very excited. And stay tuned for hopeful updates about potential Kobo Plus merchandising opportunities coming soon.
And hopefully social assets too. We're working on it.
And thanks so much for joining and for all of the questions. This has been really great. This hour flew by. So thank you. Really appreciate it. And really appreciate you telling your readers that Kobo Plus is available. We want to encourage as much different platforms and as many readers as possible. And especially in a means to like help authors succeed as they're publishing wide. So don't be strangers. We'll be back next month with more live chats, and you can always email us at writinglife@kobo.com. And thanks again. We'll speak to you guys soon. Bye.